Hey y'all, my name is Mel, and this project is meaningful to me because it's a platform we created for women to freely express themselves and be the loud and proud, confident women that they're entitled to be.
Hey, I'm Vicky, and just like Mel, I've been in and witnessed too many situations where I felt prejudged and misunderstood, or even worse, was provoked and later on was labeled as crazy for loving myself enough to stand up for me.
Honestly, if I had a dollar for each time I've been called crazy or too much, simply for standing up for myself or asking questions when things didn't add up, I'd be on an island I bought with that money right now. And I almost started to believe it, that it was me. But then I realized over time that my voice was my power. And through my story and through this podcast, I hope to inspire women from all walks of life to find their courage and speak up.
I'm beyond over being told to take it, and I wanted to be the voice for the ladies who aren't quite ready to roar just yet.
Women aren't to be placed in a box. We come from different backgrounds and have different journeys, and that's pretty much how we become ourselves and find our purpose. So a man has no place telling us how to be, neither does society. I really hope women listen to this podcast and feel heard and realize there's nothing wrong with a little crazy as long as it means you're freely expressing yourself.
This podcast will touch on all things woman. Let's get crazy. What's up, crazy bitches? Welcome back to the factory. So, today we are talking about men bettering men. So, basically, this topic came to me really just, well, there's been a lot going on in the personal lives of my friends. And
Mm.
so, living vicariously through my friends, I just had this thought this week of like, why is it that like lame type of men, like I'm trying not to curse, but what I want to say is fuck boys. Why is it that those kind of men always have really like they have at least one or two stand up guy type of friends? And it's like you look at them and you're like, how did y'all meet? How do you maintain a friendship? Like your
Mm-hmm.
values, your personality, your desires, your goals, everything is so opposite. And I realized that this is something that happens with a lot of men. A lot of men have friends who they live two different kind of moral lifestyles, and they're like in their mind they're like, hey, he's my boy, what he does doesn't affect me, and if that's what he wants to do, if that's what he feels like doing, then I'm gonna let him do it. And it's like I feel like with women it can be like that sometimes, but at the same time I feel like if you like when women are close, like close, they'll tell each other like, hey, that's not cool, or that's a little shady, that's a little weird. And I don't really understand why this is not more of a thing between men. um and the second point to this is I feel like men, especially lately, have so much bravado about what women do, like everything, like how we wake
Mm.
up in the morning, how we breathe, how we brush our teeth, how we stir our coffee, how we sit down, what we wear to work, where we work at. Like everything is an issue. Like what kind of music we like, how we dance, how we dress, like everything is an issue. And they want to tell us how to live our lives and what we should and shouldn't do and what's best for young girls and what young girls need to see as looking up to us, and how all of our favorite female rappers are whores. And it's just kind of like, okay, that's cute, but who when are y'all men gonna put as much energy into uplifting younger men as you do into criticizing women? You don't know what it is to
Amen.
wake up a woman. You don't know what it is to just need a night out with your girls to shake your ass at the club and drink your Hennessy and drive the boat and have yourself a good old time. You don't know what it is to need that moment of liberation. You don't know what it is to have the pressures of the world on your back every single day from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, to the point where sometimes you're having nightmares about the shit. Y'all don't know what it is. And I just feel like
Mm-hmm.
if men put as much vibrato into each other as they did criticizing us, I feel like the next generation of young boys that we're seeing that are obviously troubled may not be as troubled. Focus on your own gender. Focus on uplifting your own gender and
Mm,
let us do our shit because we're good over here. Any
mm-hmm.
woman that I know right now that I'm really close to right now is is perfectly fine until a man comes around. Perfectly fine, living her life perfectly fine until a man comes around and decides, oh, you need your life to be led and controlled. So let me go ahead and do that. And then everything crashes and burns. So that tells me that we're perfectly capable of making our own decisions and living through to see the next day. How about y'all focus on y'all because y'all are the ones that are out here being shot, killed, murdered, slaughtered, all kinds of things at the hands of each other. We're not out here. We you might catch a bitch in a fist fight, but we not out here shooting and taking each other's lives. So I just feel like
Mm-hmm.
the amount of energy that men put into criticizing us and letting us know that we're not shit, if you guys put that same energy into yourselves and your younger generation of men, maybe we can coincide a little better because trust me, women have our older women gang who lets us know what the fuck the tea is.
Yep. We need help.
Somebody.
We need reinforcement. We need some type of reinforcement as far as getting these men together, these young men together, the next generation. As much as, for example, me, I'm a mother, I'm raising a son. As much as I can do, my son definitely needs a good role model, a good male figure role model to get him, into the next stages in his
Hmm.
life. So I do agree with that as far as like there's only so much we can do. I feel like I agree also with the fact that like there's a lot of y'all on some fuck shit, excuse my French,
Mm.
but it's a lot of y'all on some fuck shit with a pack of, you may have, like Vicky and I were discussing earlier before we started recording, you may have some friends who have their shit together, are proper, and you know what I mean, have a stable relationship, or maybe single, but have had stable relationships and situationships with people, and know how to act right. But have that one friend who just is all over the place, and at most he gets a boy, you wild. Nah, you need to
Hmm.
sit him down and get him straight. You know what I mean? Just to kind of like help us out, help
Hmm.
the sisters out. It's not all us. It's not all our fault. It's not just like, oh, if y'all weren't like this and if you guys weren't acting like that and if Megan the Stallion wasn't popping her cheeks on Megan on the internet and if Cardi B wasn't talking about the dingly thing in the back of her throat. It's just like it's natural for a woman to be sexual. Stop
Yeah,
shaming us for it.
very
You need
natural.
to talk to your brothers and your friends about how some of their behavioral patterns are rapey. Not
Mm.
only that, but some of their behavioral patterns are toxic. You know what I
And
mean?
abusive.
And abusive. And there needs to be some type of a change or some type of reform. You know what I mean? Just to protect the next generation of women. We already been through our traumas and our trials and tribulations with men at this point. You know what I mean? We're
Hmm.
part of the wisdom group who may
Mm.
be able to speak up for the younger generation of females, but there's only so much we can do for the man. So that's where we need the older role model males to come in, and instead of being like, oh, that's a lost case and oh, that ain't got nothing to do with me and blah blah blah. A lot more y'all need to step in and speak up and
Mm.
be the voice for the younger generation, for the next generation, or maybe even for the current generation,
Oh,
and make
absolutely.
some type of a change. You know what I mean? I agree with you.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't think like men realize what an impact that they have on the younger youth. Like think about all the things that are happening right now with the youth. Like I said, I can't stress enough that I mean, youth killing each other has always been a thing, but I feel like recently it's been out of
Too
control.
much. Too
I
much.
feel like we're back in the days of like even though I'm a 90s baby, I feel like we're like in the 80s now where like
80s, 90s too. Remember,
violence,
like with the
yeah, like
Pac and
violence
Snoop
was
and
running
Biggie.
rampant and drugs were at a high. The crack epidemic was a thing. I feel like all these opioids and every fucking pill that you can pop under the sun. To me, that's just an easier way to do crack. It's the same thing
Mm-hmm.
to me. Like, and I feel like for the last decade, all of the music has been about being in the streets and doing drugs and selling drugs and being in gangs. And I feel like the younger generation doesn't understand that those rappers and those people, a lot of them came from the streets. A lot of them were around that life, but not in that life. And so they can rap about it from seeing it. A lot of them were in that life. And once they got into the industry, because back in the day, think about it, you couldn't just jump on YouTube and become a hit. You had to have a record deal. And your record label wasn't going to allow you to be in the streets. So these are all rappers that, though they may have been in the streets at one time, they may have been in gangs, they may have done and sold drugs, they had to change their lives once they got into the industry. So this younger generation of boys, they're hearing this music and they're just kind of like, oh, this is what it is to be cool. And it's like, you don't have, like, I know nowadays there are still people who do have to make their money how they need to make it, but the way that people are dying, I'm just like, over what exactly? It's just like, I just don't even, I just I don't get it. And I feel like, not only that, I watched this video the other day online where uh this black girl went around her high school. It's an old video, asking black boys what their preference
Mm,
is, black or white girls. And the
mm,
majority
I've
of
seen
those
it.
boys said white. And their
Mm.
reasons were basically the typical reasons that you would hear a grown man say. Black girls are difficult, they have attitude, white girls are easier to deal with, blah blah blah. And it's just kind of like, how, sir, at 14, do you know this? How do you know this? Do you know this
Mm.
from experience, or did you hear another grown man talking shit about your own women, and now that's what you believe? You're ruining the minds of younger
Yeah,
generations,
I'm gonna
ruining the
need
minds,
I'm gonna need black
ruining.
men to stop bashing black women. It is just so
You're
off-putting.
ruining it. And it made me
I
really sad
just,
to see that, because when
mm-hmm,
I was in high school, the brothers loved the sisters. They loved them some chocolate.
mm-hmm,
The other girls didn't even get that attention. You know what I'm saying? Like, they might like it, but they didn't get that attention. You know what I'm saying? Like, the when I was younger, I mean, I grew up in the hood. So it was enough black people and enough
right.
black people of Caribbean descent. So, like, it was just a vibe. Like, I don't know, when I was younger, I didn't even like, I would hear older women talking about, oh, these black men aren't nothing. They use you up and then they leave you for a white chick. And I that was kind of a stigma that I heard growing up. But I honestly never feared that happening to me. And to this day I do not. Because my thinking is, I don't think I'm better than anybody, but I know that the sauce that I have naturally cannot be recreated
Look,
by anything
listen,
white. So if
listen,
you want to leave me for somebody that is for a white girl, then obviously I may not have been your type to begin with, and I can't be mad at that. Go ahead. I hope she makes you happy, and I hope that you found what you're looking for.
listen.
However, that being
Mm-hmm.
said, I still never thought that, like, in my head, I don't know why, just growing up, I never thought it to be a problem. I just was like, some black men like white girls, and that's just what it is. Now that I'm a grown woman, and I can recall all of these comments being made by elder black women. That was like 20 years ago. And
Mm.
now it's still a thing. I'm just like, oh my God. Like, y'all, like, can y'all get off of the master titty? Can you?
Mm.
Or is it just going to be like this forever? Did slavery
I
set the
don't
tone?
know. It's getting worse these days, though. Like, it's
We need
like,
to make
damn,
that a
like, the
topic. Did
more,
slavery set the tone?
honestly, did it, because it's like the more black women are getting empowered and the more we're getting recognized and the more we're getting attention, the more black men seem to be like upset about it. You know
Very.
what I mean? It's like, if you know what I mean, it's like if we're oppressed and we're miserable, then they're happy, then we're the bitter black women, blah, blah, blah. But if we're like empowered and we're comfortable with we're embracing our sexuality and our curves, and you know what I mean, it's
Hmm.
just, and our sauce and our, our
Hmm.
juiciness, it's a problem as well. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I just find a lot of like black men, and I just want to make it clear that like I don't have a problem with interracial dating
Nope.
whatsoever. But
Don't give a shit.
if your intent is like, I don't like black women because they're this and that and this and that, and because they, they won't put up with my shit, and I want to be a fuck boy, and I don't want anybody to tell me about it, about what to do and what not to do, then that's not really a reason, because I can assure you that if you find yourself a respectable white woman, she will not put up with half of the shit that a black woman will put up with. She will
Right.
not. You will be in the back of a police car quicker than you can say I want a white woman. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you will be in the back of a police car quicker than you can say I prefer black women. Trust and believe me. Trust and believe me. I just find that I do agree as far as like, first of all, like, I'm just tired of the whining. I'm
Oh my
tired of
god.
the whining from men. I am so tired of the whining from black men.
Wah,
And a
wah,
lot of
wah.
time, cry baby. It's like you guys
Wah.
it's like you have to have a level of common sense. And you put a lot of y'all put yourselves in predicaments, but then it becomes every other black woman's problem and every other black woman's fault. No, you're not going for the Howard graduate. You're not going for the girl who's getting her master's degree. You're not going for the one who's taking care of her kids. You're not going for that one, because why? Because you know she won't put up with your shit. You're
Right.
going for the naive, dumb, uneducated, fucking bottom of the barrel, one. And then after that, it's like, oh, all of y'all or like
Right.
this, or all of you, or we're all put in a box because you feel away. It's very seldom that you'll hear black women be like, oh, I'm tired of black men. No, we're like, where are the good brothers at?
Right.
That's the same question y'all need to ask
And
yourselves,
not
is
only
where.
that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry to cut you off.
No, go
You said
ahead, I'm
something that
done.
triggered a thought.
Go ahead.
If you think about it, even for me, like I remember a time when we were talking about something, and like one of us, I think one of us made a comment about, being done with brothers or white men or whatever. And just
It
through our
might have been me.
conversation, maybe and I remember us having that conversation where we were talking about, like, yeah, they get on your nerves, but I don't think we should give up on them. And with women, a lot of the times when a woman makes a remark about, I'm gonna date white men because I'm tired of niggas shit, there's always a friend, at least one, who will be like, girl, don't say that. Don't give up on the brothers. That's what, what I'm saying? Like, that's where it's at. And if you decide to date whoever you want to date, that's your problem. That's your business. But when a black woman says some shit like that, there's always at least one friend who will be like, I don't know. I don't know if you should have that stance. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
that'd be
saying?
you, because I'd be the one that'd be like, you know what, let me see what the Mexicans be about.
And I've always been pro brothers. I've
Now Vicky be
always
like,
been
you know
them.
what? I see what you're saying as far as how they look, but I just cannot date anything other than a black man.
That's what I've
Yeah, that'd be
always
you.
been like
Yeah, I'll be
that.
the one that's like, let me see what them white folks is about over there at brunch.
And it's not because
But
I discriminate. I've tried. I've encountered white men before, but there's something about like friendship is great. But there's something about passing friendship into intimacy for me with the white men that there's just no connection there. I
yeah,
don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is. It just has always been that way and I've accepted it. Like I love black men and that's just what it is. Ain't no problem with
I love
that.
black men
You know
too.
what I'm
I'm at
saying?
that point. Yeah, I love black men
I
for the simple
love
fact
black
that,
men.
for the simple fact that I just feel, I'm not saying that like if I met, I'm open to anything at this
Right.
point. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I'm open to any soul I can connect with.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I
Any
do
male soul,
seek
be
out
be specific because
any
God be
male,
playing.
there you go. God, hello, hi,
Hmm.
how you doing? I
Hmm.
meant any male soul. That is what I prefer.
Hmm.
But my thing is just like there's something about a black man where you just find that, like, because I'm black, I'm not saying, because of any other reason, but just because I'm
It's a
actually I'm
connection. It's an
it's a connection.
understanding.
And
It's in
also
our
because I'm
roots.
now that I'm like older, as an African raised, Okay, my parents are Congolese. I was raised in a Congolese household.
Congo in
I
the
was like,
house.
Congo, hey, Domolo, Mama. Kofi Olomide, shout out to you. But as a Congolese raised woman, um, my parents have, how can I say, they have given me a lot of like morals and things that kind
Mm-hmm.
of like followed me through my childhood, through my adulthood, where I'm just like, I like this and I don't like that, I like this and I don't
Mm-hmm.
like
And you
that. So
can't
like
even
if I
help
could
it.
find, you can't even help it. It's just kind of like mentality wise, like I've always been into like Black American men because I love the
Same.
culture. But at the same time, once you get into that situation, a lot of times I'm like, what's going on here? Like
Right.
it's just like, where's this going? Or like, why aren't we clicking, or why aren't we
Yeah.
understanding each other? And it's because we were brought up
It's a
differently.
difference in culture. Yep.
You know what I mean? So it would have to be someone who's like me, where it's like you're African, but you're like Americanized. And so you love the culture and you understand the culture. But when it comes to certain, the basic rules of
Right.
like life and how you would raise your children, or how you would, it would have to
Mm-hmm.
be someone who's African, or, maybe of like a cult, like a culture that's like Caribbean or
Background.
whatever the
Yeah.
kid, background, where we would kind of have the same morals instilled into us, to
Yep.
where this is how we raise children, this is how we communicate, this is how we do this, and this is how we do that. Um so I kind of like, I see your point as far as that, like, when you be, it's not, I wouldn't say like, I hate when I hear Black men say like, I want a white girl. It's just, you sound like a sellout. Like, now I understand the term sellout. I understand it
Yep.
more than ever. When that's what that is. A sellout is just like, I give up. I just don't even want to deal with it
Mm-hmm.
anymore, despite the fact that you went ahead and decided to select the bottom of the barrel of what there is to select. It's like fucking, you're a gym class and there's the kid with the wooden legs, and that's what you chose, and then you're mad because she didn't fucking,
Couldn't run
make it.
properly.
You know what I mean? Like, she couldn't run and get the ball. Like, you selected the fucking person with the metal arms that just like, you chose that, and now you want
Okay,
to
wait.
attack the
Before
rest
we
of the
continue, I have
community.
to PSA. We're not making fun of we're not making fun of handicapped people. It's just
We're
how
not
we
making fun of
speak. It's just
handicapped people. I'm just
analogies.
saying.
It's just like if you
The
could
the
picture
guy
it,
in the
like
wheelchair who's there in the gym class, and the teacher's like, hey, come on, somebody. You the somebody that picked the guy in the wheelchair. And now nothing's happening for you or your team, and you want to be mad at the rest of the community because you picked the guy in the wheelchair. It's just like, come on now.
it's like all of y'all ain't shit. Everybody in this
You know what I
class.
mean? Jessica has been doing phenomenal for years in basketball, but you chose the guy in the wheelchair. So you
Was the
can't be
person who
mad at the
failed
rest.
all three, all,
Or like the kid with Down
all three
syndrome.
years.
Why? Now you want to be mad at the rest of us. You chose this person. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, that's another thing I don't like. I don't like when people make it a general. I was that person at some point where I was like, I don't want to date Black guys because they're this and they're that. No, you have to be selective. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
like, let
Very.
me make sure I have a conversation with this person that makes sense before I get involved in any way, shape, or form. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and what you're saying about culture and background is so true because my fiance is American. I'm Canadian. We're both first generation kids. And my parents are both Bayesian from Barbados, and his parents are both Nigerian. And
Hey.
sometimes there's a little bit of a difference, but I feel like the differences that we have stem from the Canadian and the American side of us rather
Just
than
because
the
I know he
culture.
listens to this. What's up, Preston? How you doing? Just because I know he listens to this.
He's probably gonna
My
laugh at
bad.
that. But yeah, I just feel like even he had made a statement a couple times where it's like, you know, we both agreed that we work because of the fact that we come from a cultured background, even though it's two different cultures. The cultures are still very similar. We're still from two different Black cultures, and we were kind of raised in very similar ways, even though we were raised in two different countries.
This
And
is
him as well. Like when I met him, we were really just friends. Like we were just, and because we were friends, it was easy for us to exchange stories about our past and things that we've been through with people of the opposite sex. And he had also been hurt. He's done his share of stupid things in his younger years, and he's also reaped his karma and been hurt. And every girl that he's ever been with, from my understanding, has been black, whether they were black American or black American from a Caribbean descent. They were all black, and he's been hurt by black women before, and he still loves black women. Like he says all the time, like I just love black women. I love
Because that's
the
a real
tone of their
man.
skin. I love, he just loves black women like so much. And this is a person who's had his share of ups and downs and disappointments from different kinds of women. And even though he's had his share of disappointments, when he talks about these women, he's never like disrespectful or rude, or he's never like, I
Yeah.
fucking hate black women and this is why I hate black women. He just, when he talks about women, at most
I
he'll
just
say,
feel like that's a
I know that
sellout.
that's some women move a certain way, some women do things a certain way, some women are like this, some women are like that. He'll always say some women. He's never like, all black women are the worst kinds of devils I've ever met in my life. And I love that about him, because I never have a moment where I'm just like, damn, what are you doing with me? You feel this way about the sisters? Because I'm blackity black, black, blackity black on black, black, black. Like, I can't wait to do my ancestry test, because being a Caribbean, I know there's something in there, but it's not going to change the fact. I really want to do it so I can see what part of Africa I'm from. I want to see what kind of black I am. I don't care about anything else that's in there. I really want to know what kind of black I am. So it's like
Ivory
I'm
Coast. Eh.
blackity, probably blackity black, 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 black on black on black on black. So it's just kind of like being with someone who appreciates a black woman and appreciates the plight of a black woman and what we go through, and who understands like fully where my crazy comes from. I couldn't ask for anything more. And I tell Melissa all the time, like, she has heard me complain and bitch about every single man who has forced their way into my life. But this one is almost like I can't bring myself to have anything negative to say. Even though we argue, he pisses me off, or like any other couple, I can't bring myself to have anything negative to say, because the good outweighs the bad, and not just in the relationship, but in who he is as a person. And who he is as a person is a person who uplift. He does for others. Women are men, he uplifts. So it's kind of like, if I can't see that trait in you, then I can't be with you, because that's how I am. And that's why I feel like it's important for men to take a stance and to see. And there are some men who do that, and shout out to the men who do. Shout out to the men who are strong enough and comfortable enough in themselves to tell their boy, like, hey, you're fucking up, that's not cool, she doesn't deserve that, you have a good lady, treat her right. But it's very seldom that you'll see a man, especially a black man, tell their boys anything, because we live in a culture now where it's like, it's cool to play these bitches, it's cool to run this game, it's cool to have a side chick, it's cool to do all of that. And it's just like, when is it going to be cool to love us again? When is it going to be cool to be a man and a real
Amen.
man? When is it going to be cool to meet a woman
You fix
that,
yourself.
you know what I mean, that has her shit together and impresses you so much that you're just like, damn, if I'm going to build anything, I want to build it with her. When is that going to be cool again? Because this shit right here is not cool. And even though I'm, obviously I feel as though I found my person, it doesn't change how I feel about single life and dating and men and how they treat women. It doesn't change that, because I still have friends and loved ones who are going through the shit, and I don't appreciate it. Like, I really don't. It's
I wouldn't
just
appreciate it either. Shit.
I, I just wish that there could be some kind of middle ground where we're not judging and attacking each other, men and women, and where it's like we're uplifting our own. And when I say our own, I mean our own sex to be better. Whether you're
Mhm.
straight, whether you're gay, whether you're whatever you are, we all need to uplift each other to be better. And I say that because even in the LGBTQ plus community, there's a lot of hate. that's not talked about. There's a lot of hate in that community. There's a lot of hate against different races, body types, different kinds of gays. There's so much hate in so many different communities. And my question is, if you're part of a community and you're proud to be part of that community, why don't you want to see your closest brethren or your closest sister do their best? Why is it okay for you to just be like, oh, well, that's my friend and I don't care about that? And to be honest, I'm guilty of doing this. I had a friend that was my friend for years. That was like my ace boom. And people had asked me several times, what's going on with this? You guys are different. You have two different personalities. How are you guys even friends? And I would always say, look, I know who this person is, but she is my friend. And her negative personality traits do not affect me in any way. So until it does, she will remain my friend. And I have to admit that most of our friendship, I never really told her anything about some of the things that were negative traits. And in the end, we ended up parting ways, and some of those negative traits ended up being things that I was the victim of. So it's kind of like you have to let your loved ones around you know when they're fucking up. And
Yeah.
especially if you're going to have vibrato to let other people who have nothing to do with you know when you feel like they're fucking up, when they're just minding their business. You should have that same vibrato to let your brothers know, hey, this is not cool, this behavior is not okay. Because if why do you need us to act prim and proper and listen to everything and just be frail and meh, if y- why do you need that from us? Why, who are we going to offer this behavior that you want us to gain to? Who? Because no, let's say self-respecting, because y'all love to say we don't respect ourselves. No self-respecting woman is going to be with a man who doesn't know how to treat a woman. So trying
Mm,
to groom us to be silent and quiet and covered and different and just not who we are, it's not going to benefit anybody if you don't teach the men to also be a little different than they're being.
right. Amen. Amen to that. Honestly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like you said it. You preach, girl. No, honestly, that you pretty much said it all. That's where I'm at as well. That's where I stand as well. Um, I just wish that more men, especially black women who love black women and who love their mother and their grandmother and the who respect them, would step up to the plates and say something,
Mm-hmm.
and say something and stand up for us, and not
Mm-hmm.
only stop making us the problem.
Mm-hmm.
We are not the problem. There are too many of us that are great, that are intelligent, that have integrity, that have humility, that have morals, for you all to say that it's us. You choose the bottom of the barrel, just like there's a bottom of a barrel in white and Hispanic and Asian and every other
Mm-hmm.
fucking culture. Okay, there's a bottom of the barrel everywhere. You
Mm-hmm.
chose that. Don't generalize it. And we need more of these men who are respectable and who love us and respect their mothers and their grandmothers who raised them, to come and step in and be like, hey, be more respectable.
Yep.
You chose you chose the chewing gum at the bottom of your shoe to
Mm-hmm.
wife up. You didn't
Exactly.
choose, you know what I mean? You didn't choose a queen on a throne. You chose the bottom of the shit that was under your shoe to wife up. So that's
Yeah.
your live up, you know what I mean? Learn from this. We
Mm-hmm.
need more of people being like, learn from this and move
Mm-hmm.
forward, rather than to blame everybody else in the world for your faux pas. It's you.
Exactly. And it's
Look
like
at you. Hmm.
it's like what you're saying is true, because you hear a lot of times guys will be like, "Ooh, crazy girls got the best sex. Crazy girls, crazy girls." Then you go for the craziest possible person you could find, and then when she's crazy, you're like, "Oh, I'm not fucking with black women. They crazy." And it's like,
No,
no, sir,
you
you
went for
and
the bitch who was speaking to the pigeons in the park.
and not only that, be careful what you speak into existence. Because a lot of these men, oh, I want a crazy girl. I like crazy girls, crazy girls, crazy. Then all the crazy girls gonna come towards your way. That's the energy that you speaking into your life. And then you're gonna be confused. Oh, I don't understand why I can't find a good black woman. Because that's not what you're wishing into your life. You're wishing craziness into your life. That's what you're gonna get. But yeah, pretty much that's our 30-minute rant on on men uplifting other men. It's really just to say, like, you have so much to say on us, please have something to say on yourselves, because y'all are not perfect,
Mm-hmm.
neither are we. And if we can acknowledge it, please stop acting like you guys don't know what's going on. Like, stop
Mm.
doing this thing where when we were like, okay, we know we got our shit, but how about this? You guys are like, well, we do this because y'all don't respect yourselves. No, you do this because you're choosing to be a bag of trash. Because if I don't respect
Right.
myself and you choose to be good to me and I don't respect myself, and you're gonna see that, and you're gonna be like, you know what, I can't fuck with you because I want to treat you well, but you don't respect
Yeah.
yourself.
Respect your own
As it's as
self.
simple as that. You don't have to be like, oh, in my opinion, that person doesn't respect themselves. Let me kick them while they're down. Like, come on, bro. That's not a way
Mm-hmm.
to be. But
Nope.
anyways, that's that. I don't know, Mel. Do you have anything to add before we wrap this
No,
up?
I do not. No, I do not.
Okay.
We can wrap it up.
I well then, you guys can catch the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, SoundCloud, and several other platforms. We are on IG, Twitter, and TikTok. For the new year, we're going to try to do more on the platforms. If you have questions, stories, or topics you'd like us to talk about, hit us in the DM on IG at Crazy Bitch Factory Inc. Thank you so much for listening tonight, and come back into the Crazy Bitch Factory. See
Woo woo.
you.
See you next week.